Imagine you are an ugly, disgusting, worthless girl who lost her virgin parents at the age of 5 years old. You are then adopted by your grandfather, who is a powerful Yakuza leader. He assigns his most devoted and worthless, ugly, disgusting man to protect you around the clock. Growing up in this peculiar environment, you slowly develop complicated feelings for this useless nerd. Trust me, you're gonna be into this anime. And if you're keen to find out the name of the anime, don't worry, it'll pop up on the screen in the video. Drop a comment the moment it appears, and I'll send you a heart emoji. The anime begins with Isaku, who at age 5 lost her parents and had to live with her grandfather, who happens to be the leader of a Yakuza clan. She is now the granddaughter of the clan leader. In addition, a clan member named Kaya was tasked with raising Isaku. Years later, useless Isaku manages to pass the entrance exams for a new high school located an hour from home. Kaya congratulates her on this accomplishment, noting how much she has grown since they first met when she was just a worthless child. As Isaku is about to start high school, she is no longer the worthless girl under Kaya's guidance. However, Isaku reminds Kaya that despite his care for her, she is not his real daughter. She intentionally chose a school far away, desiring a more typical teenage social experience with friendships and the possibility of romance like other girls her age. On the first day of classes, Isaku shyly enters the classroom, nearly stumbling but is saved just in time by a boy's outstretched hand. To her surprise and dismay, the boy turns out to be Kaya. Puzzled, Isaku questions how a 26-year-old man could pose as a student. She soon discovers that Kaya has enrolled as a transfer student, tricking everyone by pretending to be a teenager. Kaya openly confesses to leveraging his Yakuza connections to make this happen. His main objective is to protect the innocent Isaku from boys with bad intentions. Aware of Isaku's desire to experience romance in the future, Kaya is resolute in keeping potential suitors at bay. With no choice but to address this awkward scenario, Isaku establishes boundaries, insisting that Kaya maintain a distance at school and allow her a conventional student life. Isaku grew up in a bit of isolation, which made her feel quite lonely. Kaya, being the caring person he is, became very overprotective of Isaku. This is because Isaku's grandfather was a notorious crime boss, causing other children to keep their distance and see her family as dangerous morons. Isaku comes back to the classroom only to find herself being ignored and excluded by her classmates once again. She feels like a ghost, so she decides to pretend to be asleep at her desk, hoping that someone will show concern and check on her. Fortunately, Kaya notices her and comes to her aid like a watchdog. He not only pays attention to her, but he quickly scares two morons who wanted to start a conversation with Isaku with graphic threats of torture. This strange behavior makes everyone see him as the weirdo of the class. When the teacher finally enters the classroom, two students are called upon to volunteer as class representatives. While worthless Isaku would be willing to take on the responsibility, but she lacks the confidence to raise her hand publicly. Observing her hesitation, Kaya enthusiastically nominates the two of them as the class reps. Their first task as class representatives involves selecting players for an upcoming sports tournament. Initially, no one volunteers, but Kaya uses his charm and authority to encourage participation, organizing teams single-handedly and securing a spot for Isaku on the girls' volleyball team. At home, she feels sad about not being great at talking to people. It makes her jealous that Kaya could easily make friends with the whole class while she struggled. Kaya notices her mood and tries to cheer her up, giving her a hug and complimenting her, assuring her that everyone would love to be her friend. Surprisingly, the hug boosts her confidence, inspiring her to step out of the house. Feeling insecure about her not-so-great volleyball skills, Isaku nervously asks some idiots to practice with her before the upcoming tournament. They agree, but things take an unexpected turn when one idiot jokingly throws the ball, accidentally hitting Isaku. Kaya appears out of nowhere and ruthlessly beats the creep. He then offers to coach Isaku privately, but she declines, fearing he might go easy on her. Undeterred, she continues training with her classmates, enduring grueling drills and accumulating bruises from the hits. On tournament day, her teammates approach her, noticing the bruises on her arms. She explains it's from intense practice. They commend her dedication and noticeable improvements. Later, she catches Kaya smoking and scolds him. Returning to the volleyball match, Isaku surprisingly performs exceptionally well, even scoring for her team, but dislocates a finger in the process. Before they can celebrate, Kaya rushes her off to the infirmary. There he congratulates her success and tells her she's full of life lately, but confesses it breaks his heart to think she's fine without him. This revelation unexpectedly deepens her affection for him. The next day, Isaku notices some girls greeting her in the morning, boosting her spirits. While Kiya is in the bathroom, a blonde boy from another class approaches Isaku, introducing himself as Tamaru. He bluntly asks if she and Kaya are dating. Isaku hastily denies it, explaining they're childhood friends and admitting she's single. Seizing the opportunity, Tamaru asks for Isaku's Instagram handle. Unfamiliar with real friendships, she admits her account is inactive. Tamaru kindly offers to help revive her profile. Kaya returns, witnessing them exchanging contact details, which visibly irritates him. Later, Kaya unleashes his fury on his crew, recounting the incident. One member suggests it's normal for a teenage girl like Isaku to show interest in boys her age. Kaya, refusing to listen, points a gun at his comrade's head, warning him against such comments. He's determined to sabotage any potential romance between Isaku and this pathetic loser. That night, Isaku realizes her feelings for Kaya are intensifying rather than fading. Suddenly, she receives her first DM from Tamaru, casually asking what she's up to. Thrilled to finally experience a typical teenage interaction, Isaku briefly considers redirecting her romantic feelings to this loser instead. The next morning at school, Tamaru casually chats with Isaku. Kaya abruptly interrupts, whispering menacing threats to Tamaru, suggesting he pursue another girl. Tamaru, oblivious to the danger, laughs it off as a joke. Later, while Isaku is browsing Tamaru's Instagram photos, her finger slips and she accidentally likes one of his old pictures. She quickly unlikes it, feeling embarrassed. Tamaru notices the rapid like and unlike and playfully asks Isaku about it. Isaku turns red, flustered at getting caught out. She tries to casually explain that she was just innocently looking through his pics and didn't mean to interact. Seizing the moment, Tamaru asks Isaku why she doesn't have any photos posted on her account. Isaku admits she never had friends to take pictures with before. Surprisingly, he suggests bringing Isaku along to karaoke night with some of his buddies later. Isaku happily looks forward to finally hanging out with kids her age, but just then, Kaya suddenly snatches her phone away mid-conversation. In the struggle for the phone, they both end up falling on the floor. Kaya states firmly that she is too young to be interested in romance, insisting it's better to wait until after university when she is wiser and older. Upon hearing this, she firmly pulls Kaya out of her room, reminding him that she's not a little kid anymore. Isaku is confused and doesn't know why he is behaving like this when he doesn't love her. Despite feeling heartbroken, Isaku still holds on to hope and agrees to go to karaoke with Tamaru, thinking that getting closer to this worthless idiot might help her move past her one-sided love for Kaya. The day arrives, and an anxious Isaku sneaks out without telling Kaya anything and meets Tamaru and his disgusting friends, desperate to experience a normal teenage social outing. She took her first group photo, which she loved. As they enter the karaoke venue, the friends order drinks. One of the friends asks Isaku what she wants to drink. Isaku innocently answers apple juice. As the songs progress, Tamaru and his friends suddenly take out hidden cigarettes and beers, shocking Isaku by casually smoking and using illegal drugs. Moreover, his ugly friends suddenly start wildly kissing each other, shocking Isaku with their carefree behavior. Extremely uncomfortable, Isaku grabs her bag to leave immediately, but ugly Tamaru blocks her exit and attempts to forcibly kiss her as he looks like a clown, and no girl would willingly kiss him. Just as Kaya violently bursts into the room, witnessing everything. Furious, Kaya grabs Tamaru and slams his head violently on the table. He then takes her outside to the car, but before that, he tells Tamaru's friends not to say a word about what happened here at school if they don't want to end up like Tamaru. When they enter the car, he asks her if he did anything to her. Isaku feels like a fool for the way things ended. Kaya hugs her and tells her that he should have broken Tammy's face. Isaku asks how he found her, to which he replies that he tracked her phone's GPS. Isaku accidentally gets lipstick on Kiya's clothes, prompting him to ask about her makeup because she never applied makeup. She explains she wore it for the night out with friends. Kaya couldn't stop staring at her as it was the first time she applied makeup, which made Isaku uncomfortable. He then assures her that he will always protect her no matter the situation and that she should not worry. The next day in class, Isaku is surprised when hopeless Kaya scores a 0 on the exam. However, he knows there's no need to worry since, just as he had leveraged his Yakuza connections to get admitted to the school, he could also use those connections to ensure that this exam failure never happened officially. Feeling frustrated by his lack of effort, Isaku insists that Kaya properly study for the exam. Furious with him, she demands that Kaya diligently prepare for the exam, so she took him to the library to study. As they settled in, two hot girls quickly started flirting with Kaya, drawn in by his striking handsomeness. Out of nowhere, they asked Kaya if Isaku was his girlfriend, to which he bluntly responded that the two of them are nothing more than childhood friends, a response that must have hurt Isaku's feelings. Indeed, Kaya's blunt denial made Isaku spend hours staring up at the sky that night, pondering the fact that he did not even give her a chance to confess her true feelings before outright rejecting the idea of romance between them. Elsewhere, as Kaya carries out his Yakuza duties, the club manager suddenly kisses him. However, Kaya doesn't feel anything from the kiss. Instead, as he heads home, he finds himself remembering Isaku's lips and realizing he cares about Isaku more than anything. Upon arriving home, Kaya finds Isaku sitting on the floor. When she sees him, Isaku tries to head to her room to avoid him, but ends up falling due to having been kneeling for too long. Kaya rushes over and kneels to help her up, but she seems upset, so he asks her if it's because he doesn't take his studies seriously, and if that's the case, then he will. He then suggests an immediate study session, which Isaku agrees to, and they study together. Kaya promises he will give his best effort on the exam, but since he is a damn loser and lacks motivation, he requests a reward from Isaku if he passes. She agrees, allowing him to ask for anything. After studying for some minutes, Kaya falls asleep on the floor. Isaku joins him, using his chest as a pillow. The next morning, Isaku awakens to find Kaya already looking at her. She blushes with embarrassment at having slept in his arms, her disgusting face turning bright red throughout breakfast. But Kaya remains calm and collected, not reacting to their accidental overnight cuddling session. Following this the next morning, Kaya declares his commitment to taking his studies seriously from that day forward. He begins bombarding Isaku with repetitive questions about the lessons throughout their classes, much to her annoyance. Thanks to Isaku's tireless tutoring, Kaya finally passed the exam. Right after, he reminds Isaku of her promised reward for his achievement. Boldly, Kaya requests to kiss her as his prize, leaving Isaku bewildered and flustered by the sudden ask. Just the other day, Kaya had firmly rejected any romantic involvement between them, always treating her like a daughter or friend. With her emotions in chaos over it all, Isaku declines the kiss, so Kaya suggests he will think of something else, and when he reaches the door, he proposes that they should spend the weekend alone, just the two of them. Happy about having time together, Isaku spends hours picking out a fun outfit. He took her to the zoo as he knew that she loved to see animals. After snapping pictures of Kaya having a blast with a rabbit, they sat to enjoy their snacks. While eating the snacks, Isaku notices a romantic couple passionately kissing their young child. It makes her heart ponder whether Kaya's request for a kiss was perhaps more fatherly. This thought is reconfirmed when Kaya affectionately tells her he does everything for her because she's like a daughter to him. At the end of the day, Isaku's feet are left sore and blistered from all the walking around. Noticing her discomfort, Kaya gently cleans and bandages her injuries. He compliments how pretty she looks in the dress she carefully picked out for their special outing, making Isaku blush sentimentally. After all, she'd spent hours selecting an outfit and doing her makeup, hoping to impress Kaya. On the quiet walk back home, holding hands, Kaya apologizes for asking for a kiss the other day. He casually mentions having kissed many women before but believes kisses should only occur privately between a genuine couple. To Isaku's surprise, Kaya confesses that no other woman has made him truly desire to kiss them until now. Looking into her eyes, he boldly requests Isaku to kiss him, wanting to experience the feeling of passionately kissing someone they deeply care for. In a tense moment, Kaya leans in to kiss Isaku, but Isaku hesitates and pulls away before running off. Kaya goes after her, wondering why she is running away as he picks up her hat. He notices that there is someone behind him, an armed person who shortly after shoots him. Isaku heard the bang and turned around. By the time she arrived, she found Kaya subduing the guy, however he was wounded. Fortunately, the bullet only grazed him. Kaya's associates then escort the subdued thug away. Later at the hospital, we see Isaku worried, but Kaya reassures her with a smile, urging her not to fret. He also selfishly asks Isaku to put the almost kiss and the frightening thug encounter out of her mind. A few days later, Kaya organizes a fun beach trip for the entire class. As students pair up for different activities, Isaku and Kaya naturally become partners. Upon arriving at the seaside, the class enjoys fishing and cooking together. While chopping onions during the cooking session, Isaku is seen crying by a classmate. Kindly, the classmate helps dry her tears with his shirt. Witnessing this friendly act, Kaya throws a knife in anger. The knife narrowly misses the boy, hitting a nearby tree and causing his separation from Isaku. The incident creates tension, leading to Isaku and the boy being separated due to Kia's impulsive behavior. Later that evening, Isaku's classmates tease her about Kia's overprotective nature, joking that he doesn't want her around other boys. She clarifies they are not in a relationship. A friend notes how unusual this is, as Kaya has rejected every girl who has shown interest in him at school. While discussing, a classmate realizes she left her phone in the changing room. She pleads with her friend and Isaku to accompany her back. Despite the late hour, the three head to the bathroom. Isaku searches for the phone alone, gasping when Kaya emerges shirtless from the showers. She quickly sends her friends away as they have found the phone they were looking for to prevent his tattoos from being seen. Taking advantage of the moment alone, Isaku asks what he is doing at this late time, and he replies that he can't bathe around the student's time as he doesn't want his tattoo to be seen. She then confronts Kaya about impulsively throwing the knife earlier, which could have seriously harmed their classmate who was trying to help, to which he replied that at least he didn't die, so there was nothing to worry about. She also mentions Kaya's recent request to kiss her, which she declined, concerned about his true romantic feelings for her. Isaku questions why Kaya becomes so jealous when she talks to other boys if he doesn't have deeper feelings for her. This question visibly affects Kaya, who leaves without response to put on a shirt, leaving Isaku waiting awkwardly. As the tense moment lingers, Isaku regrets confronting him so directly, realizing she may have wounded his ego with her question. She fears losing him for good, considering his close brush with death recently. She decides to ask Kaya about his true feelings for her romantically. Just as Isaku gathers the courage to inquire about Kia's romantic interest, they overhear teachers patrolling nearby. Quickly, she joins Kaya in the bathroom to avoid being caught. After some tense moments, the teachers leave, allowing Isaku and Kaya to sneak away safely. As they part ways, she thinks about the question she never got to ask him, whether he likes her. The next morning at the beach, Kaya openly flirts with the teacher while students cheer him on. Annoyed by his behavior, Isaku storms over to scold him, but he smoothly pulls her in a close embrace, pretending to intimately hug her only to discreetly zip up her sweater. Seeing Isaku turn bright red, Kaya playfully drags her into the sea on a colorful pool float to splash around and cool off. Soon after, Isaku spots a hooded man which reminds her of the one who attacked them previously. The man then approaches Kaya. Worried for his safety, Isaku grabs a watermelon and smashes it against the man's head. However, it turns out to be an innocent misunderstanding. The man is one of Kia's bodyguards, newly assigned to watch over her after the recent attack. Isaku apologizes profusely for hitting him. Later, Isaku's friend realizes that they run out of sunblock. Isaku kindly offers to run to the nearby store to buy some. On her way to the beach, she runs into two ugly Mormons who recognized her as the granddaughter of the Yakuza clan. Meanwhile, it had been a while and Kaya hadn't seen her. He asks her friends and then finds the sunblock she came out for on the floor. The bodyguard also reports seeing two rival gang members loitering in the parking lot earlier. Horrified, Kaya realizes Isaku must have been kidnapped. Furious, he punches him for failing to protect her. Isaku awakens in a moving vehicle, overhearing her kidnappers discuss plans to use her as leverage against Kaya, with whom they have a personal grudge. However, they agree not to harm Isaku to avoid an all-out war between the clans. Using the GPS on Isaku's phone, Kaya races after the kidnapper's car, determined to rescue her. He repeatedly crashes his vehicle into theirs in a bold attempt to save Isaku. In a tense moment, one of the ugly kidnappers grabs Isaku and threatens to shoot her if Kaya doesn't stop ramming them. Kaya and Isaku share a quick, meaningful look, and Isaku bravely uses her head to strike the kidnapper, causing him to drop the gun. In the chaos, a shot is fired, hitting the driver. Seizing the opportunity, Kaya infiltrates the kidnapper's car through the window and delivers a powerful kick to the criminal's face, freeing Isaku. The vehicle plunges into the sea and quickly sinks, with the kidnappers tragically drowning. Safely on land, Kaya hugs Isaku from behind and sincerely apologizes to her for these horrible events, as he is her bodyguard. Instead of Isaku being upset with him, she tearfully thanks Kaya again for risking his life to save her. They embrace tightly, tearfully renewing promises to avoid further danger despite the reality that a Yakuza's lifestyle precludes such certainty. And with their star-crossed romance still seen as forbidden, Isaku hopes only to faithfully remain by Kiya's side until that unknown day when circumstances may force them apart. Upon returning to the hotel, the teacher scolds them for causing them to worry about their whereabouts, as they had been searching for them all afternoon. In response to their reckless behavior, she decides to punish them by confining them to their room, preventing them from participating in the bonfire. Isaku regrets missing out on this significant moment with her classmates, and with that, the trip to the beach is over. Back at home, she grabs him, wanting to see if she can be able to throw him. She thinks it's smart to learn self-defense so she doesn't have to rely on him. She then notices that he is carrying his summer holiday homework. He plans on paying someone else to do the homework for him as he is a damn stupid. She starts nagging him and convincing him to do it together. He agrees but asks for a prize. She accepts but on the condition that he doesn't ask for anything weird. However, he does ask her to wear a swimming costume at home. Wait, what an angel she is. I know what you're thinking, dirty boys. Seeing her, he compliments her beauty and her total cuteness, confusing her once more. As if that wasn't enough, he then leads her to a garden where he has prepared a delightful surprise. A pool, watermelons, fireworks, and more since the trip they took didn't end well. Kaya wanted her to have good memories. As she is in the pool taking her time, she playfully splashes him with water, a sign for him to join her in the pool. Little did she realize that this would prompt him to remove his shirt, causing her to feel a rush of nervous excitement, especially when they ended up sharing the same floaty. And just when she thought things couldn't get any more intense, he remarks on how much she has grown, noting that she fits his ideal petite type. Summer vacation had just started, but Isaku had already finished her homework. She then scrolls TikTok like a damn loser. When she gets bored, she goes out. She bumps into some of her Yakuza pals cleaning the house. She offers to help, but they refuse, afraid of getting punished by Kaya if he sees them. Feeling down, Isaku goes back to her room, thinking about how she used to be okay with being alone. Now always around Kaya, she longs for company. Speaking of him, he shows up and invites her to the summer festival. Isaku feels both happy to spend time alone with Kaya and worried about seeing her old schoolmates who rejected her because of her Yakuza grandfather. Despite everything, she plucks up the courage and decides to go. She wears cultural attire and attends the festival. Kaya compliments her on her beauty. Some of her former classmates recognize her and whisper about her family. Seeing the young man with her, they assume he is also her date. Kaya boldly holds Isaku's hand to make it seem like they are on a date, causing her classmates to stop staring. This action brings excitement and thrill as they hold hands throughout the festival. Later she sees a stuffed doll that resembles Kaya, so she plays to try to win it, but since she can't aim properly, Kaya offers to help and win the doll on the first shot. He also buys her a mask. Exhausted, Isaku rests in a corner while Kaya gets coffee to freshen up. Alone, she kisses the stuffed doll, unaware that Kaya witnessed it. While they are drinking the coffee, he thanks her for the day, especially the fake date, although he makes it clear that he wasn't pretending. This leaves her confused, pondering unanswerable questions. He asks her to wear the mask and kisses the forehead of the mask she is wearing. The following day, she wakes up with dark circles on her face from her excitement about the planned outing with her friends. She promised Kaya she'd be back by dinner. She met her friends elegantly dressed in town. They dine out, take photos, and end the day sharing girls' stories. Her enthusiasm was so high that when she got home, she couldn't sleep, tossing and turning. Not finding her at dinner, Kaya goes to her room and he finds her. Seeing the doll, he remembers Isaku's kiss from the other day, feeling jealous and tossing it away. He then throws himself on top of Isaku, mumbling about his jealousy, unaware that Kaya's warm hug instantly puts her to sleep, as she has been struggling to sleep all night. Kaya held her as she slept, listening to her steady breathing and watching her peaceful face. Overcome with longing, he started to lean in for a kiss but stopped himself. Poor boy had it bad. Later, her grandfather's best friend, the leader of the Tanuki clan, pays a visit along with his grandson Mikio, who is a high schooler like her. She welcomes them warmly, but Mikio immediately asks if she has a boyfriend, which infuriates Kaya. Later on, Isaku goes to watch a romantic movie with her friends. They'd all hope for a romance like the one in the movie. Afterward, they chat about their first kisses. Isaku admits she hasn't had one yet, and she starts feeling jittery recalling a moment with Kaya. The girls ask her if she's considered going out with Kaya. Isaku shares that they recently went to a festival together and he referred to it as a date, but she's unsure of his feelings for her. Finally, Isaku confesses to her friends that she has a crush on him. Her friends suggest dropping hints to see how he reacts, which seems like an exciting way to find out if he likes her romantically. Upon returning home, Kaya asks her about her visits to her friend's place. She mentions the romantic movie they watched and their discussions on relationships. This sparks Kaya's interest, and he asks if they talk about him. She coldly replies that she would never do that. Isaku asks why he wants to know if they discussed him. She then slams the door shut while he stands outside. Confused once again by his mixed signals, Isaku assumes that her suspicions of his feelings are all in her head. The next day, Mikio is beating two students. His bodyguard stops him, warning him that he could face consequences from his father. They leave, and on their way home, Mikio spots Isaku through a window. He sneaks up behind her and compliments her on how lovely she looks in her school uniform. Kaya appears, pressing him against the wall to warn him about bothering Isaku. He tells him of his secret enrollment at the school to protect her, disguised as a student. Mikio laughs at Kaya, acting as Isaku's guard dog. To further provoke him, Mikio proposes marriage to Isaku, enraging Kaya. Unfazed by Kaya's anger, Mikio appears delighted to have found someone amusing to provoke. Adding to the tension, he uses his connections to transfer to Isaku's class and embraces her. Quickly, Kaya pulls Isaku away. As everyone witnesses Mike's actions, Isaku takes him out of class for a private conversation, asking him not to disclose her family background as she has found true friends here and does not want to be separated from them. He agrees, but with the condition that they treat him well and get along. Although they don't understand what he meant by that, they head to class, where Isaku expresses concern about Mikio revealing her family, and Kaya reassures her that he better not. In the classroom, Mikio learns that Isaku and Kaya are the class representatives and bursts into laughter, finding it amusing that a big Yakuza uncle is a class rep. As the class discusses what play to perform for the cultural festival, Isaku's friend suggests doing the play Romeo and Juliet, for which they have already prepared the script and cast. They propose that Kaya play Romeo and Isaku play Juliet. Their idea is to speed up the love triangle since Isaku is slow in approaching Kaya. Things seem promising until Mikio insists on playing Romeo, taking Kaya's role, as no one can stop him. Tension escalates as they decide the lead role through a game of rock, paper, scissors, with all the girls hoping Kaya would win, but unfortunately I'm stopping the recap here. Reach 50 likes on this video and I'll create a second part of this anime. Peace out, guys, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel.